Hey, what's up? It's the most copywritten YouTuber back at it again with another re-upload. No, your ears do not deceive you. I did say re-upload because this is the third time I've had to upload this video. Now, you see, most of the time YouTube lets you know within an hour of uploading if you have any copyrighted material in your video, but this time they've decided to switch from letting you know in an hour to letting you know in a week. So the first time I posted this video, it said it was all fine, no restrictions, complied with the YouTube terms of service. But then in about 3 days they did a 180 and internationally blocked it. I went in, I edited some parts, and then re-uploaded it. And while I was hitting upload for that second time, I had a thought in the back of my head that they're probably going to do something like this again, so I took a screenshot. Here is that screenshot showing that this video was perfectly fine with YouTube's terms of services 4 days ago. But then fast forward to today, and I wake up to see that it has been internationally blocked again. So I guess I'm in it for the long haul. I'm going to be dancing this dance, or rather shuffling this shuffle with YouTube's copyright system until this video gets to stay up. Now, while I don't mind participating in this pissing contest, it still is annoying because if I have to come back and work on the same video every 4 days just to get it to stay up, I can't work on a new video. If I have to keep on worrying about Death Note episode 8, I'm never going to be able to make episode 9 or a video going over a Hellboy movie, which, spoilers, that's the next video coming out. So it sucks. It also really sucks because I got a lot of great comments on that video telling me to cover Sopranos, which I will be in the future, saying that they're excited for the next part in the series, you know, really community building comments here, the good ones. And now they're all gone. The collective, I think maybe 1,500 views between the two videos, they're all gone now. That's great. That's just great. It's exactly what I wanted. But yeah, I guess that's all I have to say for this opening bit. If you'd be kind enough to throw a subscribe my way, you'll get to see this video get reposted in a week again. Anyway, I have to get back to my very important work of smashing my head up against the rock, so I hope you guys enjoy the video, and later. Hey, what's up? This is part 8 in my series going over the Death Note anime and manga and talking about the differences between the two. If you haven't seen any of the other episodes, you can click up in the corner, and there's also a playlist on my channel. If you remember from the last episode, Light just met Misa and they made a plan to kill L.
I'll kill L for you. L will die. That's all it took.
This couple of episodes kind of marks the point where the series changes. Like, the first few episodes are really soaked in that crime thriller genre, but from here on out we'll see more of the comedy suspense thriller soup that makes Death Note such a unique series.
I believe you kill your son and then yourself.
It's not necessarily a bad change, we haven't gotten there yet. Anyway, I don't want to waste any more time, so let's get right into it. We open right where we left off with Light and Rim talking about killing L. Light decides to take tonight to think of a plan, and tomorrow they'll get together and talk it over. Light asks Misa for her number and she gets excited for a second, but then Light has to explain the rules of trapping and how the feds be doing wiretaps on phones.
I'm your girlfriend. I should have your number.
I already told you.
I stay high like giraffe pussy.
It's not difficult for them to bug even cell phones these days.
Light tells Misa that it's time to go home, but she's wanting to go out to Red Lobster and shit. Light's move is to plant a kiss on them lips, and this gets the job done, with Misa leaving in a haze. After Misa leaves, Light and Ryuk start talking about the game plan, and Ryuk brings up how L said that he thought of Light as a friend.
I thought perhaps you were hesitating because he said he thinks of you as a friend.
A friend? I just gave him what he wanted.
We then get transported into the intro when Light thinks about his plan and how tomorrow will be the last day that L lives. We then cut to L studying evidence, and he just drops this bombshell.
Mr. Yagami, if I die within the next few days, your son is Kira. Another hair.
Oh, shit!
Light's dad is understandably pissed, and L talks about why he thinks what he thinks.
I may not be thinking as clearly as I normally do, so I could be wrong. Maybe I still consider him a suspect only because we don't have anyone else.
L then name drops the episode.
This is all a wager now.
Cut!
We then cut to the next day where Light's talking to one of his many bitches and he sees Elle on a bench.
Ah. Hey, Light. How's it going?
Light is asking Elle why he's here, and Elle proceeds to destroy any hope Light had.
The fact is, you're the only one on the outside who knows me as Elle. In the unlikely event that I die in the next few days, I've instructed your father and everyone at headquarters to assume that you are Kira.
Light has to roll with the punches at this point, so him and Elle plan to go get some cake at the school cafe. This is interrupted, however, when who else but Misa shows up.
Light, there you are. I had a photo shoot nearby, so I thought I'd come by to see you.
Misa, you idiot!
Light's pissed at first, but then he realizes that Misa can see Elle's real name. Light is happy at seeing shit be turned to sugar, but then he notices Elle starting to laugh.
Ryuga, deciding to come here today was a mistake.
The tension is broken when it turns out that Elle is just Misa's top OnlyFans donator.
I have been a huge fan of yours ever since the August issue of 18.
What? Really? That's so sweet of you.
A crowd starts to form when people notice Misa, and it's going fine until Elle turns into a Weinstein.
No way! Somebody just touched my butt!
In the criminal justice system, sexually based offenses are considered especially heinous.
Misa's manager comes to get her and the crowd breaks up. This gives Light the perfect opportunity to call Misa and figure out Elle's real name.
It's been fun, Elle. I'm grateful that I was the one to discover your name, so I could kill you myself.
This falls to pieces when Light dials the phone, and this is what I was talking about when I said that these episodes mark a shift in the series. The scene is still great, which is why I don't mind the shift. It just makes me love Elle even more, which is always good.
Hello?
Yeah, that's Misa's cell phone you have. I can give it back to her.
No, I see. Sure, that makes sense.
We then get a double whammy when Light goes to dial Misa's second phone.
But Misa has another phone he doesn't know about. I'll just call that one instead.
Oh. Well, this time it's actually my cell phone.
This is when we find out that Misa's been apprehended because she's the second Kira. We then learn that Misa was sloppy when sending in the latest batch of tapes, and they found hair follicles that matched ones found in Misa's room. We then get transported back to the Shadow Realm where we see a more physical representation of the mental battle that Elle and Light are going through.
He confronted things head on. This wager was my...
We then cut to Elle in a hotel room, and he's showing the rest of the task force Misa. The plan is to get Misa to talk by any means necessary.
Watari, take the necessary precautions, but beyond that, you're free to do whatever has to be done, okay?
Light is also made the prime suspect again, and he's going to be brought in for questioning. We then cut to a few days later when Misa's starting to talk. She's asking for them to kill her, but then we see that she's actually talking to Rem and asking her to kill her.
If you wanted to, you could kill me right now, couldn't you?
Misa, do you mean...
Yes. Kill me.
The scene is almost hard to watch, with the normally upbeat Misa crying and begging to be killed because she just can't take it anymore. The visuals of a tied up Misa and her trying to bite her tongue don't really help any either.
Kill me. Please just kill me.
I don't know. Maybe this was all too much for a young girl to take.
That's what she said.
We see Rem reporting back in with Light, and she tells him about Misa begging to die. Rem brings up one last option, and that is Misa relinquishing ownership of the Death Note.
If Misa forfeits ownership of the Death Note, all her memories related to it would disappear. All the murder she committed with it. The fact that you are Kira.
It's really a sad scene to watch.
It's okay. The human being who you love is Light Yagami. I promise those feelings will remain.
Rem also brushes Misa's hair out of her way, and Elle sees this, but he doesn't think anything of it. We then get Rem giving Light a good old threat to save Misa or die.
But I did so on one condition. And that is, if you don't save Misa, I will kill you.
We end this episode with Light saying some cryptic shit to Ryuk.
This is goodbye, Ryuk.
You piece of shit!
We open up this episode with Chrissy at the Pine Barrens with Polly, and oh wait, that's the wrong show. Might do a video over it, let me know in the comments.
He killed 16 Czechoslovakians. Guy was an interior decorator. His house looked like shit.
It's actually just Light relinquishing ownership of Misa's Death Note.
I hereby relinquish ownership of this Death Note.
Take care of her. You gave your word.
We then cut to Misa, who's waking up with no memories of the Death Note.
Hello, mister? Where are you right now? Do you think we could stop this game?
Huh? Stalker? Where'd you get that?
Light's all good though, because he still has his Death Note, so he can still see Rem. Ryuk is a little upset at Light burying his Death Note in the woods, but Light tells him to get over it and listen for a code phrase.
For the time being, I'm just hiding it, but it stays mine. Until the next time you hear me say the following words, get rid of it.
We then cut back to Misa, who's acting like someone who's been kidnapped by a stalker. The team is confused at this shift in character, so L calls the officer who arrested her.
When you apprehended Misa Amane, you made it clear that she was a suspect, am I correct?
Yes, like you told me.
L starts questioning Misa, and she's really set on this whole stalker motif. Matsui isn't having any of it, and he has a little outburst.
Hey, Amane!
Oh, this is scary. What's going on?
Misa then brings up piss fetishes and calls L a pervert.
Plus, you'd be able to watch. Isn't that what you want? Isn't it? You pervert!
I'm a pervert?
Well, you think what you want about me. I'm not changing. I like me. My kids like me. My friends like me.
Light then comes in and says that me just might be Kira.
Ryuzaki, like I said over the phone, I could be Kira.
Light's dad is pissed and Elle is confused. Light puts on a pretty good show too.
Subconsciously, I might be Kira. If that were the case, I could be him and not even know it.
No, Light.
Light is kind of fucked because of the whole surveillance arc and all the cameras that were in his house. Matsui is just sitting there meat riding Light though and telling him that he's all good.
If I can think like Kira, then how can I be sure that I'm not actually him?
Hold on, Light.
Light then goes for the Jekyll and Hyde defense, saying that he might be Kira, but Kira only takes over when he's asleep or incapacitated. Elle's plan is to do what Light wanted to do many episodes ago and imprison Light and put him under surveillance. Light suggests total isolation and observation to prove his innocence, but Elle questions if someone who is innocent would go to such lengths.
Would any normal person be willing to go to such extreme measures to clear their name? That's no good. I can't do anything that would deprive you of basic human rights.
Light's father is putting up a huss and fuss, but Light is really committed to being committed. We then see Light getting escorted out Hannibal Lecter style. We come back from commercial to see the first day of confinement. It's really funny seeing Ryuk hanging out with Light in the cell. Like, he doesn't really have to stay there with him, but at the same time, he doesn't really have anything better to do.
So, I guess are out of the question.
We then see Elle's hotel setup with cams on both Light and Misa. Light's father then comes in and asks to be taken off the investigation because of conflicting interests. Chief Yagami also doesn't know what he would do with himself if Light was Kira, and Elle just drops this line.
I don't know what I'd be capable of.
Yes, I'll agree with you there. To be honest, I wondered what you might do. I believe you'd kill your son and then yourself.
Chris Benoit.
After this, Chief Yagami asks to be locked up as well. We then cut to the third day of confinement and we see Elle's gamer setup. We also hear sound bites from each character on screen.
Hey, mister, I really want to take a bath. I'm pretty sure you already know where I live, don't you? Could you bring me some clean clothes?
We hear that since Light's been locked up, no criminals have died and Light pretends to accept his fate.
I see. So it's only a matter of time before I'm convicted as Kira.
what I wouldn't give for an
The whole situation confuses L, and we get to hear some inner monologue. We then cut to day 5, and we see Ryuk straight up tweaking. We also get to see Chief Yagami looking like me when I get copyright strikes on my videos.
Mr. Yagami looks pretty bad.
L tells Chief Yagami to calm down, and if you know anything about independent black women, they do not like it when you tell them to calm down. We then cut to day 7 of confinement. L asks Light how he's feeling, and Light decides that now's the time to play his trump card.
Yeah, I know I must look pretty bad in here, but this useless pride, I suppose I'll have to get rid of it.
Ryuk also gets some time to shine. We then see Light after relinquishing ownership of the Death Note, and it's kind of neat to see like a pre-Death Note Light.
Why am I doing this? I don't belong here.
With Light acting like this and Misa acting like she's been acting, L and the task force are confused at what to do next. We then cut to day 15 with Matsui coming up and talking about a new batch of deaths.
I just heard 2 weeks worth of criminals were just murdered all at once. It happened yesterday.
Yeah, Kira is back.
Matsui tells Chief Yagami about the news, and they think that Light might just not be Kira. L's assessment of the situation is that Light's in the gray.
Well, he's in the gray.
Did you hear what he just said, Chief?
Yeah, it's a hell of a lot better than being completely guilty.
Matsui also gets bitch slapped after trying to tell Light the news, and it's funny to see L get physical. L lies to Light about the news, and Light goes through a whole miniature stroke.
But even if the evidence does point to me, I swear to you, this is a setup. I am not Kira. Zoom in on me if you want. Go ahead, look at my eyes.
L then asks Misa if she knows who Kira is, and he gets nothing but confusion. We end this episode with L just not knowing what to do.
I don't understand what's going on here.
He says, she says, he says, shut up. The women of Dazzletown show their true nature in Vinewood Cunts. Only on Weasel.
But, oh, you got a gap in your mouth? You poor. I was born with a gap in my fucking mouth.
And the funny thing was,
it just so happens that I'm poor.
Yeah, I like this shit. Ha, R&D, bitch.
This is CNT.
My name is Stephanie Pearson. I tried dating, but it mostly ended in me just getting desperate and blowing homeless guys. Then I met Nathan on LoveMe.net. We totally hit it off.
Getting into the manga, when Light and Ryuk are talking about the kiss, Light talks about how he's gonna make Misa fall in love with him, and how even if he does kill the person he thinks is L, it could just turn out to be another body double like the one that appeared on the news. When L is thinking that Light could be Kira, he thinks about whether or not he should go back into hiding or even just not letting Light see him again. He also talks about how he's not afraid to die, but he just has unfinished business, and it's not like this makes the manga L super different from the anime L, but it gives a bigger window into the character. When L is telling Chief Yagami that if he dies in the next couple of days, Light is Kira, L also brings up how Chief Yagami would lead the investigation because he would be the best person to get a confession out of Light. When Light is walking with side bitch number 15, we get some commentary by a couple of dweebs talking about how much of a pimp Light is and how he's oh so smart. When L is telling Light that if he dies in the next couple of days, Light will become the prime suspect, L also talks about how L isn't just one person, and he bluffs that there's a whole team of people out there just like him. And I'm not sure why they cut this line out of the anime. Like, it's a nice quick callback, and my only theory is that they wanted a more comedical tone to the episode before pulling the rug with Misa's arrest. We also get a page where L is commenting on Light's pimp status, and like, I get the whole charming person who's actually evil thing, but they really play into Light being a chill, weed vibes only kind of guy. When Misa runs into Light at the college, Rem is also with her, which makes sense, and now that I've seen this, it feels kind of weird when she's not there in the anime. When the crowds start to form around Misa, it's more like she's an up-and-coming model and not an established icon, with some people not knowing who Misa is or what exactly she does. Again, it's not like a huge change that makes the manga massively different from the anime, but it gives texture to the character. Like, it's easy to write a character that everyone knows and loves, but it's more realistic to just have a few people know who they are. When the crowd is breaking up, Elle talks about going back to a lecture rather than going to get cake, and I like the anime more for this, in the sense that cake is more up Elle's alley rather than wasting time listening to a lecture. When Light is thinking about how he's going to kill Elle, he thinks about controlling his actions for as long as the Death Note would allow, and letting him continue his investigation until his time runs up, which is a pretty solid plan. I like the execution of this scene better in the anime, but that's because they have pacing and voice acting that you just can't get in the manga, but the scene is still great in the manga. Also in the manga, we get to hear Elle's thoughts when Light dials the phone, and it's kind of funny seeing Elle going into this really deep plan just for Light to already know it's him and not Misa. We also get to learn more details about the evidence they found, like the hair being from a cat and makeup powder also being found. When Light is thinking about what happened, we don't get to see the Shadow Realm and Light freaking minds like his name was Chris, and it's actually a really neat way of showing the mind games that Elle and Light are playing. When the task force is talking about the evidence, they go into so much detail talking about pollen from flowers and matching ink from pens, and it makes this series still feel like a crime drama with how much they talk about the investigation part of the Kira investigation. I'm not sure what this adds, but when Elle is talking about Light being Kira, he talks about how he had one of Misa's phones, and while it's normal for couples to do these things, Elle knows that Light isn't into that foo-foo shit. When Misa is asking Rem to kill her, we also hear that she hasn't had water for 3 days, and while it's played off as hearsay, it adds to the difficulty in this scene. Speaking of adding difficulty, I'm just gonna leave this up here for a second. I don't know if I'm just missing something, but when Light relinquishes control of Misa's Death Note, he can still see Rem because he has his Death Note. And if this is the case, shouldn't Misa also be able to see Ryuk?
Also, Misa would no longer be able to see Ryuk or me either.
They both just touched each other's notebooks in the same kind of way. It's not like they wrote down names in each other's book. So I'm not sure why Misa forgets everything, but Light basically forgets nothing. Let me know down in the comments if I'm just missing something. When Light is calling Elle, Matsui comments on the odd relationship Light and Elle have, and it's kind of funny getting this almost meta commentary. When Light is telling Elle about how he might be Kira but just not know it, he talks about the gods of death, and it better sets up what I think Light is trying to do. What I think Light's trying to do with all this is make it seem like Misa and himself are just being possessed by the gods of death. I'm not sure if I like it in the anime more because they don't really spell it out, or if I like it in the manga more because I didn't really realize what was going on until I read it in the manga. Also, when Light is talking about how he was thinking that some criminals should die, he goes from light to dark mode and says that it's not just criminals he wanted dead, and it shows the added edge that the manga has. When Light is talking about clearing his name, he brings up how if he's not Kira, then he wants to catch the real Kira, and it brings it back to the whole vibe of the manga compared to the anime, and how the manga is still seeped in crime drama where the anime is adding in more comedical elements. In the manga, when the task force is talking about making up excuses for Light's absence, we actually get to hear the lie, which is that Light's running off with Misa and Chief Yagami wouldn't approve. We also hear about how Light's oh so smart that he could miss up to 2 years of school and still be fine. When Elle is thinking about Light's plan, he thinks about how originally he wanted to capture Kira and then make him demonstrate his powers, but the backup plan of imprisoning Light and Misa isn't isn't a terrible option. When Light is asking Elle about updates in the case, he also asks about Misa and if there's any updates on her. And even though Elle tells Light that he doesn't really need to know any of that information, it's great at showing Light's commitment to the bit. Like, in real life, if your girlfriend was accused of being a serial killer, you would naturally want to get updates. But none of us have to worry about that. Am I right, boys?
I miss you. I don't want to know you. I don't want to hear your voice. Don't ever call me again.
We then get some real nice panel work when Light relinquishes ownership of his death note and we see his eye going from one of determination to one of fear. We end the manga the same way we ended the anime, with Light swearing he was set up, Misa not knowing what's going on, and Elle confused. This batch of episodes were kinda laid back, with most of the action happening in the first half. We're almost done with the first set of DVDs, so after episode 10, I'll be uploading a compilation of all of the episodes, kinda like a season 1. It'll mostly just be the episodes, but I'll be chiming in between episodes and giving my updated opinions and whatnot. Also, in my last video, I got a few comments about my editing, so these next few seconds are just for you. You should check out the podcast I co-host with R&A King called Henny for Your Thoughts. We upload new episodes every 2 weeks. Also, if you want to share support and get behind the scenes updates, you should follow me on Patreon. Until next time, later.
Loving you is easy 'cause you're beautiful.